Hello, and happy Wine Wednesday, and welcome back.
Happy wines.
Wines?
Happy Wine Wednesday.
Yeah,
I'm coining my own phrase. Happy wines. That applies to any day.
Okay, that'll work.
Yeah.
I'm Nicole Kearney.
I'm David Thompson.
And we are on Newbeat Radio with the Sip and Share Wine podcast. We are also on YouTube at youtube.com/sip and the letter N, share wine, and all podcast platforms. So, this portion of the show, we do a wine of the week or wines of the week sometimes. And then that takes us into the wine segment of the week if you've been following us. And so this episode, we talked to Lindsay with the South LA Wine Club. I think I got that right. South LA Wine Club that she started out in LA when she saw that there was a lack of anybody organized who was talking about wine, specifically wine made in the South LA area. So she did her first meetup a couple weeks ago in mid-September. And it was amazing. I followed it on social media. I didn't get to go. And she had one of my favorite winemakers, Paul Charles, who was a guest on our very first show, season 1, episode 1, with Charles Wine Company, Melanin Wine. And great guy. And so they had him as a guest, and he debuted the Melanin Pinot Noir 2015 vintage, which we've had a chance to taste.
Oh, yes.
And it is stunning and an amazing, and the bottle is equally as great, the artwork, as the 2014 Melanin. So that remains my favorite Pinot Noir to date. But we are going to talk about a different wine. We're not going to bring that wine back because we did that in the first episode. We are going to do a DeLoache Vineyards Zinfandel. So Zinfandel is one of my favorite reds next to Pinot Noir. Pinot Noir, Cabernet Sauvignon, and Zinfandel are my reds. And this is from the Russian River Valley, a 2014. And I love their little logo, DLV, DeLoache. Yeah, isn't that so cute? DeLoache Vineyards. And this is was given to us to try. This was actually from the Wine Nori. You can find her on all social media outlets, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. So she sent this, and we interviewed her in season 1, and we drank another wine that she wanted us to drink, but this was also one that she sent. So I thought I'd hold on to it. It is, everybody always wants to know, 15%. Zinfandels are usually fairly high in alcohol content. So DeLoache is a family-run winery, and they are considered a pioneer in the Russian River winemaking. And Russian River is a region in California. And so let's see. The luscious Zinfandel includes grapes from century-old vines in the heart of the Russian River Valley, showcasing the flavor profiles of the unique terroir. Terroir is a really nice word for dirt. So bold fruit and violet aromas blend enticingly with spice, leading to a delightful finish with a perfect balance of acidity and tannins. And so tannins are going to be the dryness that people say when they say about red wines that they don't like. But I'm always amazed when people say, I don't like the red wine because they're so dry. But those are the same people I ask them, do they drink coffee? And they say they do. Right. Then they love coffee and they drink like 5 and 6 cups of coffee a day. And the same dryness that coffee gives your tongue. I'm not a coffee drinker, so I'm saying, a friend told me. It is the same thing in the wine. So those tannins. So let's try this DeLoache Zinfandel, and I've been holding on to this for months, y'all. Months.
From the Russian River.
And this is the Russian River Valley.
From California.
Yeah, it's a 2014 vintage from DeLoache Vineyards. Sonoma, so it's Sonoma County. So most people are familiar with Sonoma and Napa in California. So let's give it a swirl.
No ties to Russia.
No ties to Russia. Yeah, in this day and age, y'all, it's no ties to Russia.
So I clear that
up. And it has an amazing nose. I smell good, some good fruit. And let's try it. Oh, that's just fruit, just pops and just bursts into your mouth.
Mm-hmm.
It's like blackberry and cherry and maybe a little blueberry. And the color, I know you all can't see it, but let me hold it up. It's a beautiful color and it has amazing legs. And when we talk about legs, we talk about how long it means. That means how long it takes for the wine to run down the glass. Mm-hmm. Let me swirl it again so they can kind of get it. So see how it's running down? Look at that. You see that sexy run, y'all. Oh, that's just sexy. And then, yeah, it's still just running. Oh, this wine is amazing. Wine Nori, thank you for this wine. Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh. I wasn't hip to the DeLoache brand. I think I've had a couple here and there at tastings. But once she sent it to me, that made me more aware. And I think I've tried some of their other varietals. But, So this is
my special sip and share glass.
So the DeLoache Vineyards are wines that you can find in depends. You can find their brands in stores. It just depends on what the varietal that they have in stores. Some are carried in stores. Some are carried through their special arrangements with wine clubs. This is carried by a wine club. So this particular varietal may not be available to the public, but the Wine Nori can get that for you because she is an importer and distributor of wine, and she does domestics, which is your California, Oregon, just wines inside of the United States. But she also announced, and I'm super excited for her because she just announced that she is going to be carrying South African wine. She's an importer for South African wine. So as soon as I saw her announcement, I hit her up and I was like, when you get it, I need to get it. Mm-hmm. So she is going to be my South African wine connection. And I'm super excited because I think she's going to have access to a wine that I've been wanting to try, which is the House of Mandela, which is Nelson Mandela's daughters or granddaughters have a wine brand or wine company. And so I want to try that. And I do know that she's going to be carrying what's called the Seven Sisters, which is 7 actual sisters out of South Africa. They have at least one brother, I know, maybe 2 other brothers. And all the wine is named after a different sister, and their personalities are reflected in the wine. And the wines are great. They have everything from a pinotage to, I think they have a rosé. They have a Chenin Blanc, which is my favorites of pinotage and Chenin Blanc, South African wines. And so there's 7 amazing wines, and I have the opportunity to taste all 7 of them in February. And so all of them are stellar. I want Sip and Share Wine to carry those and pour those for people because hands down, they're some of the best wine I've ever tasted. Best wines ever. South Africa. And then there's another sister in South Africa who was the first female winemaker in South Africa. And I think her wines are now being imported into the United States. So I'm hoping she'll carry, her wines as well. So I'm super excited about that.
That is not too dry to be a 15 point.
To be 15, it's the fruitiness that, and they say tannins on this. And so it's really interesting because it's right. It's a perfect balance of acidity. The acidity is there. The tannins are there, but they're so smooth. So think it's almost chocolate. It's like a taste of chocolate. Like you're drinking hot chocolate, but it's cold, if that makes sense. It is amazing. I am a Zinfandel fan, and I know when people hear Zinfandel, they think this is red. And so just so you know, when you go to a restaurant and order Zinfandel, Zinfandel is red, people. It's really, really red. White Zinfandel was a mistake. It really was. It was a mistake that was made, and the winemakers didn't leave the skin in contact with the grapes long enough, and so they had to figure out a way to sell it, and so they created this white Zinfandel. It took off, and it kind of overshadowed the rosé market because it basically is the color of rosé. It overshadowed the rosé market in the United States for a long time, and people like it because it's a kind of it's fruity, but people think it's sweet, but it's really just fruity. It's not really sweet at all. Mm-hmm. It's just really fruity, so that makes it appear sweet to people, if that makes sense. Because people equate fruity with sweet a lot of times.
Two different things.
Right, so like this is fruity, but it's not sweet.
Right.
And so the fruitiness, people will be like, oh, but Zinfandel is something you can take to people, and it will, people are like, oh, I don't like red. They'll like this. But this will be even enhanced. I'm going to tell you my go-to with red wines in general. But Zinfandel, it works really well with Cabernet Sauvignon, and it works well with usually those two probably. And a Pinot, you could do with a Pinot Noir, is peanut butter and jelly, y'all. Don't judge me. But peanut butter and jelly.
I've heard that. I've got to try it.
And Zinfandel is great because the jelly, it's got the sweetness. Mm-hmm. And so you got the peanut butter and that sweetness, and then the wine, it's going to balance it. And it's going to be like a perfect balance.
Mm-hmm. Or Pop-Tart.
Pop-Tarts, strawberry, those are my favorite. So, not sure what's happening. But sorry, y'all, we're out of focus, so we're trying to figure out what's going on. A strawberry Pop-Tart. Okay, we'll be back in one moment. Can you stop that?